Across the ages and in every corner of our world, we have asked the same question. Why do we suffer? Why is there pain, loss, and hardship in our lives? It's a question that sits at the very heart of what it means to be human. We look for answers in science, in philosophy, and very often in faith. Two powerful stories have emerged from different parts of the globe to explain our condition. One speaks of an endless cycle, a wheel we are all turning on. The other tells of a single, ancient mistake, a fall from a state of perfect grace. Both ideas, Samsara and original sin, try to make sense of our shared human struggle. These two explanations may seem worlds apart, born from different cultures and different times. One comes from the East, from traditions like Hinduism and Buddhism. It sees our lives as part of a vast, repeating pattern of birth, death, and rebirth. The other comes from the West, rooted in the Abrahamic faiths, particularly Christianity. It points back to a specific moment in a garden, a choice that changed humanity's destiny forever. Yet, despite their differences, both stories grapple with the same fundamental truth, that life as we know it is somehow incomplete, that we are living with a deep sense of longing for something more. The search for why we suffer is really a search for meaning. We want to understand our place in the universe. Are we here to learn a lesson over many lifetimes, or are we here to mend a broken relationship with our Creator? These are not just abstract theological questions, they shape how we see ourselves, how we treat others, and what we hope for in the future. They offer a framework, a map to navigate the difficult terrain of human existence. By exploring these two profound ideas, we can begin to understand the different ways humanity has tried to answer its oldest and most persistent question. Understanding these foundational beliefs is like learning the grammar of a faith. Samsara tells a story of cosmic law, of cause and effect playing out over countless lives. It suggests that our current circumstances are a result of past actions, and our future is in our own hands. Original sin tells a story of inheritance, of a shared human condition passed down through generations. It speaks of a fundamental separation, a distance between us and the divine that we all feel deep in our souls. Both narratives, in their own unique ways, offer not just an explanation for our pain, but also a promise of a way out. In the spiritual traditions of the East, there is an idea called samsara. Imagine a great cosmic wheel that never stops turning. This wheel represents the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. We are all passengers on this wheel. When we die, our journey isn't over. Instead, we are reborn into a new life, a new body, a new set of circumstances. This cycle has been going on for a time so vast, it is said to be without beginning. It is a continuous journey through countless existences, driven by the energies we create. It is a powerful image of endless repetition, a cycle from which many long to escape. But what keeps this wheel of samsara turning? The answer, according to these traditions, is desire and attachment. It is our constant craving for pleasure, our fear of pain, and our clinging to things that are, by their very nature, temporary. We desire wealth, we desire status, we desire relationships. This attachment, this thirst, is called tanha. It is the fuel that propels us from one life to the next. The actions we take based on these desires, known as karma, determine the nature of our next rebirth. Good actions lead to a more fortunate life, while harmful actions lead to one filled with more suffering. The ultimate goal, then, is not to secure a better rebirth on the wheel. The true aim is to get off the wheel entirely. This liberation is called moksha in Hinduism or nirvana in Buddhism. It is the end of the cycle, the extinguishing of the fires of desire and attachment. To achieve this, one must gain a deep, profound wisdom. They must see the world as it truly is, impermanent, interconnected, and ultimately empty of a separate, unchanging self. It is a state of perfect peace, a release from all suffering, a final return to the ultimate reality. This path to liberation is not easy. It requires discipline, meditation, and a radical shift in perspective. It means letting go of the ego, the I that we hold so dear. It involves cultivating compassion and understanding that all beings are caught in the same cycle of suffering. The journey of samsara is a long one, a school where the soul learns lessons over many lifetimes. The suffering we experience is not a punishment, but a teacher. It is the friction that polishes the soul, pushing us ever closer to the final freedom that lies beyond the turning wheel. In the Christian tradition, the story of human suffering begins in a perfect place. It starts in a garden called Eden, where the first two humans, Adam and Eve, lived in perfect harmony with God. There was no pain, no shame, no death. They lived in a state of pure innocence, a state of grace. God gave them everything they needed and only one rule to follow: do not eat the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. This command was a test of their trust and obedience, a symbol of their relationship with their Creator. The story tells us that they were tempted by a serpent to disobey this one command. They chose to eat the fruit, seeking a wisdom that belonged to God alone. This act of disobedience, this choice to go their own way, is what is known as original sin. It was not just about eating a piece of fruit. It was a fundamental break in the relationship between humanity and God. That single act shattered the harmony of Eden. It introduced shame, fear, and mortality into the world. Adam and Eve were cast out of the garden, and humanity's journey of struggle and suffering began. Because of this fall, it is believed that every human is born into a state of separation from God. We inherit a sinful nature, a tendency to turn away from what is good and to follow our own selfish desires. This is the root cause of suffering in the Christian worldview. It is not just our individual wrongdoings that cause pain. It is this fundamental, shared condition of being spiritually disconnected. All the greed, violence, and injustice in the world are seen as symptoms of this deeper, inherited brokenness. We are like exiles, longing for a home we have never truly known. The hope offered in this story is not liberation, but redemption. It is the promise of being rescued and having that broken relationship restored. Christianity teaches that God did not abandon humanity. Instead, He provided a path back to Himself through the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Through faith in Jesus, believers can receive forgiveness for their sins and be reconciled with God. This is not something humans can earn on their own. It is a gift of grace. The goal is not to escape a cycle, but to heal a relationship, and one day enter into an eternal life with God, a restored paradise. When we place these two great narratives side by side, we see two very different pictures of the human condition. Samsara presents a cyclical view of time and existence. Our suffering is self-perpetuated, a result of our own ignorance and desire, carried over countless lifetimes. The path to freedom is inward, a journey of self-realization and detachment. Original sin, on the other hand, presents a linear story. It begins with perfection, moves through a fall, and heads toward a final redemption. Our suffering is a shared inheritance, a state of being we are born into. The path to freedom is outward, a journey of faith and surrender to a divine rescuer. From a psychological perspective, both ideas offer valuable lessons. The concept of karma in Samsara teaches us about radical personal responsibility. It encourages us to be mindful of our thoughts and actions, knowing they will create our future reality. This can be empowering, giving us a sense of control over our destiny. Original sin speaks to a different psychological truth, our feeling of inherent imperfection and our capacity for self-deception. It validates the sense that something is fundamentally off with the world and within ourselves, and it encourages humility and a reliance on something greater than our flawed nature. Ethically, these views also guide us in different ways. The interconnectedness taught in the doctrine of Samsara fosters a deep sense of compassion. If we are all caught on the same wheel, suffering from the same desires, then harming another is like harming a future version of ourselves. It leads to an ethic rooted in nonviolence and universal empathy. The story of original sin, and the redemption that follows, fosters an ethic of forgiveness and grace. It teaches that since all are flawed and in need of mercy, we should extend that same mercy to others, loving our neighbors as ourselves. Ultimately, both Samsara and original sin are profound human attempts to find meaning in suffering. They are stories that tell us our pain is not random or pointless. Whether we see ourselves on a wheel we must learn to stop, or as exiles longing for a lost home, both narratives point toward a powerful human truth. We all share a deep and abiding hope for transformation. We long for a reality beyond our present struggles, a state of peace, wholeness, and freedom. These ancient stories continue to resonate because they speak to this universal yearning for a better tomorrow.